friends. Welcome to another episode of Lucid Reflections Astrology Sessions. My name is Julie and I'm an astrologer. I usually do these on the Telegram app as a podcast, but it seems like YouTube is more accessible to people, so I thought I'd make this one as a YouTube video. So today I also want to do something different. I wanted to look at my own chart as a case study because I've got, we always have transits going on, and I had this Taurus Scorpio, the Scorpio full lunar eclipse directly conjuncting my Taurus moon. And so I thought it'd be interesting to look at my chart as an example of the way that these energies can manifest. So at 25 degrees Taurus, my moon is there. 25 degrees Taurus, and during the eclipse that we had a few days ago, the sun was at 25 degrees Taurus and the moon was at 25 degrees Scorpio, exactly opposite. That's what makes a full moon. What makes it an eclipse is that it's very close to or exactly conjunct the nodes of the moon, with the south node in Scorpio, the north node in Taurus right now. So the first thing I'll say about this is actually about my mom. Oftentimes, the moon in someone's natal chart can describe their mother or transits, things going on in the mother's life that are transiting through, things that are passing in the mother's life. So for example, my moon is in Taurus, so my mom is very, I see her as like stable and reliable and grounded and beautiful. And she has those Venusian qualities that Taurus has. And at the same time, with this eclipse happening, conjuncting my moon, I see it as strongly affecting my mom. My mom is kind of going through a personal eclipse right now. And so what's happening in my mom's life is that my dad, her husband, just died a couple weeks ago now. And so first of all, tremendous emotional transition. Scorpio rules things like marriages, things where energies are intertwined, interlaced, emotions are merged together, lives are merged together. What do you want for dinner tonight? It's a we doing things together. And finances are merged. My mom also worked for my dad, with my dad, and now with his death is kind of having to step into his role in some ways. Which is a tremendous transition for her. Also, legally, all the legal enmeshments of marriage and needing to disentangle those. Just think of a joint bank account and having to put it in your own name, things like that. So the Scorpio energies are where we're merged with others, where we're synced up with others, where we're joined in a life and with finances and legal things with others that aren't necessarily ours personally. It's sort of we're both leaning on each other to make it happen. And then the Taurus energy is, I'm standing on my own now. The Taurus energy is the self-reliant, standing on my own 2 feet. So any place where my mom was kind of leaning on my dad as a pillar, it collapsed, and now she's having to build herself up to stand on her own feet, both, emotionally and legally, financially. So that's one big way that this eclipse energy, the Taurus Scorpio. So the Taurus Scorpio axis also deals with finances. So the Scorpio is more so things where we're engaged with other people, like when we're renting something from someone and you have a contract with them and you're both invested in it. You want what it is that you're renting, they want your money, and there's that enmeshment together. And then the Taurus is more, this is mine, I own it. It's my foundation. And so, it deals with finances. So tremendous financial transition. Also, the Scorpio South Node feels like it deals with tremendous amounts of loss, along with Jupiter was still at the very end of Pisces at the same time that my dad left. And it's just this letting go energy. At the end of the water energies, just releasing tremendous emotion, I feel like the grieving, like when we cry waters of the body, it's releasing something that we were holding on to. It's releasing, someone we loved from our lives, releasing the emotions. So something else, the Saturn was squaring this eclipse, Saturn in Aquarius. So my mom is like my moon, my mom, so Saturn squaring this eclipse means that Saturn is squaring my Taurus moon, my mom. So just a tremendous increase in responsibilities, just this kind of feeling of like, oh, my back hurts, I'm shouldering so much now. All of a sudden, this is all on my shoulders, something I was sharing the weight of with someone else, or maybe even leaning on them. Now it's all on my shoulders. So that describes what's happening for my mom, and how you can see in someone else's natal chart, things happening to their moon can affect their mom. Not always, but kind of often you'll see that the moon in someone's natal chart describes their mom. But it also describes me. The moon also describes my emotions and my needs and what's going on for me pretty personally. Interestingly, to me, I didn't feel as significantly affected by this eclipse as I would expect, with it being conjunct my moon. I definitely feel tremendous transformation. My dad leaving the physical plane is definitely a big deal in my life also, but the way that it's affecting me is very different than the way it's affecting my mom. And I would even say that the way that it's affecting my mom is the way that it's affecting me the most. So on a personal level, how is this eclipse affected me? What forms has this energy taken? So definitely my attention got zoomed in onto finances also. It's not like my financial situation changed at all over the past couple months, but all of a sudden I felt like I need to feel more independent. That was, I think, at the root of the motive of the finances. It was this feeling of like, sometimes I've leaned on my parents, and I just like feel like I need to separate. So in me, it's this kind of will to Scorpio South Node release the enmeshments, and to Taurus Moon North Node stand on my own 2 feet with even more conviction, strength, sturdiness, feelings of like alignment with my own values and valuing myself, and like feeling established in myself. And yeah. And so again there, Saturn in Aquarius, and Aquarius is my ascendant. So Saturn's been transiting my first house. And so, that Saturn is me kind of stepping into more responsibility. And Aquarius may be motivated by an urge to freedom, which is interesting. It's that kind of like ironic stepping into more responsibility in order to feel more freedom, because it's a feeling of independence and maturity. So that's one part of it. And so I'm going to show you how I look at a chart and I look at themes, and how I pick out themes and get really specific. So we're seeing this theme of finances and Taurus standing on my own 2 feet to start with. We've got the Saturn in Aquarius making me want to be more responsible, the Taurus moon and the eclipse wanting to detach from other entanglements, wanting to stand more firmly in my own financial security. And so along with that, Jupiter is just entering Aries. And my second house cusp starts at 2 degrees Aries. I have a very big first house. Pisces is intercepted. So it starts in Aquarius. It goes all the way through to the 1st degree of Aries. But now Jupiter is just starting to enter my second house. And now the second house, if we're looking at themes, the second house is naturally ruled by Taurus. Taurus, where the North Node is. Taurus, where the sun was the day of the eclipse. Taurus, where my moon is. So there's this really strong Taurus theme again, where I'm wanting to focus on second house themes, where it's both expanded Jupiterian, and also I'm open to the grace of Jupiter and receiving the abundance that Jupiter offers wherever it's transiting. And the second house is around themes of my possessions. So that also includes like my money, things that I earned on my own, and so they're mine. And I feel like stable and like I keep seeing like the number 4 in numerology around like what I'm talking about with Taurus themes. Like a table with four legs. You know, it's stable, it's firm, it's grounded, it's a foundation. And so those themes in my life, yeah, like building up income, building up practical, grounded stability for my life, is all of a sudden like this is my attention. So in addition to that, Jupiter is trining my natal Jupiter, which is awesome. And my natal Venus. My natal Venus is at 0 degrees Leo. My natal Jupiter is at 29 Cancer. So while Jupiter's transiting the end of Pisces, beginning of Aries, it's trining my Venus conjunct Jupiter, which is awesome. So along following this line of a theme in a chart, we see finances, we see the second house, we see this Taurus theme, we see this Venus theme, we see the Saturn in Aquarius, responsibility, maturity, and then we see that my Jupiter is being trined with Venus. So what is it, what is it specifically that, where there's a gift, where there's a light, where there's an expansion, where there's a spark that I can pursue, how can I tap into that expanded second house opportunity for me to ground? Well, something related to my Jupiter and Venus. So think about those Jupiter and Venus type themes, traveling, and also art, Venus. Right around the time that Jupiter started like really trining my Venus, I'm always making art. I'm always filling up sketchbooks. I'm always crafting things, making spoons or whatever. I sewed this shirt, but I created a new style of art. I started drawing in a new way all of a sudden, and it felt just so inspired by the sun and the feeling of the beginning of summer or the end of spring, and just this feeling of beauty, this feeling of Jupiter Venus was reflected in my art, and I feel motivated to start marketing my art not for the first time. I've had that in the back of my mind for a long time, but it's starting to like feel really focused and practical and serious, and like do that. There's a foundation available to you there. And so I'm starting to put more attention on that Venus-Jupiter theme. See? So some other things. So I'll just summarize that one more time. So like when I'm picking out themes, when I'm looking at someone's chart, both when I'm looking at their natal chart and transits, whatever it is, to me in my chart, this theme popped out because I'm seeing finance with the Taurus-Scorpio axis. I'm seeing security in the 3D realm with the Saturn transiting my first house, and I'm seeing Jupiter just entering my second house, and then I'm looking at Jupiter to guide me, well, okay, how can we tap into the most gracious way to manifest this, what Saturn wants for your freedom, for your independence, to break away from those Scorpio entanglements and to step more into your Taurus moon, Jupiter, Venus, art. So, okay, so the next example that I'll give of something else going on in my chart, this Mercury retrograde is happening in Gemini, and that's my fourth house. My fourth house cusp, my IC is Gemini. And so how is this manifesting in my life? Well, I'm still at my parents' house. I was here through my dad's passing. I'll probably be here a couple more weeks through the entirety of Mercury retrograde, just about. And the way it's affecting me is really nice. It's kind of offering me, along with my dad's passing, just like some mental, my attention is being drawn to stories in my mind about things that I've perceived, choices that I've made throughout my years growing up and in my early 20s. I'm 31 now. And about like why have I made choices that I've made, or where have I been coming from, and how much of that has been influenced by my dad, who has his sun in Gemini. I've also always seen that fourth house cusp in me ruled by Gemini as kind of describing the household that my dad's energy founded because of his Gemini sun, and he's very mercurial in nature. And yeah, and I'm just reflecting a lot on I guess, stories that I've told myself or conclusions that I've come to throughout my earlier years, and then choices that I've made in my life, and I'm kind of reevaluating them to see whether those still reflect my experience of what society is, of what I want for my daily life, of what I value, of who we want to be, because Gemini describes the stories that we tell ourselves and our conceptual understanding of everything. It describes the mental energy, and so I'm having the chance to reflect on my own mind and to have insights. For example, maybe this is something my friend actually is pointing out to me yesterday that I've already been aware of, but just like, for example, at some point I was very rebellious because my dad was offering me forms of structure that I didn't resonate with. And so I was like, no, I'm doing this my own way. And so now I'm kind of reflecting on like, how are there still ripples of that rebellion in me? And is society at large something that I want to rebel against necessarily? Or by now I've found communities that I resonate with that I don't need to rebel against? And am I rebelling against myself in ways by perpetuating rebellion or stuff like that? So just reflecting on my own mind's stories that got established in early childhood. The fourth house describes early childhood, and rewriting them so that they fit me better now. I could continue on and on about all the transits in my house, but we'll start with this. Let me know if this was helpful. Let me know if this was a good study support tool. I know a bunch of you guys who I've given readings to, or just who I've talked to, are also studying astrology. And so I thought it would be fun to offer this more educational video as opposed to my other podcasts on Telegram, where I'm more so giving readings for the collective. I think it's fun for me to give case studies. It's fun for me to hear case studies too, because so often, you know, you look at the energy and you're like, I wonder how that'll actually manifest, especially when you can see a big theme and you're like, wow, that's really pointing to one thing in particular. So yeah, I hope this was fun and supportive and interesting. Let me know. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm a practicing astrologer. I'm offering readings. If you'd like natal chart reading or any kind of reading, feel free to reach out. My website is lucidreflections.weebly.com. I'll put it in the comments. Yeah. And if you'd like to join my Telegram group, I'll see if I can put a link to that below also.